and you really must tune in. He's ironic, iconic, many bionic. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Genius. He's a genius.
This is Michael Burhan from Genius from RetroAnime.com, and I'm here with Gideon Emery. So I basically wanted to kind of ask you a little question about your time in the gaming industry, because you're synonymous with games such as like Dragon Age, for instance, and the fact that you've, as you know, your roles are very diversive in terms of the gaming industry itself. Was it like being so like iconic, having a huge fan base there, based on a gaming franchise that you've been so cohesive with?
I mean, it's interesting because it's kind of, although I see sort of the gaming and on camera starting slowly to come together with actors doing more of the motion capture and that sort of thing, and so it feels a little more cinematic that way, and that there might be this sort of this mesh. On the one hand, though, on the other hand, rather, it's I think there's this VO following, and then there's I do a sort of a smattering of on camera, and I think they're very sort of separate. So my wish for a long time has been that these audiences will kind of come together and cross pollinate, and it'll all become a beautiful trifle.
Well, it's starting to do that, like with the game industry and sort of comic books coming in hand into film and TV. It's kind of bleeding in a sense. So especially with stuff like cons like this, you're becoming more recognisable with the fans, and they can put a face to basically the favourite characters now. So for an actor yourself, what's your process like when you're going through like these characters? Is it the same from like voiceover and TV, or is it very different in terms of the way that you look at the characters?
It's different because in TV you get a scene or two to audition with, right? You're not getting a whole episode when you audition. You're getting literally a couple of scenes. You go in, you audition, you get the call, you don't get the call. If you get the call, great, you've booked the job. Here's the episode you're going to be shooting next week. That's kind of typically the speed of it, Now with games or in film, you've got a longer lead time. So maybe you've got a few weeks to work on the material and go, okay, so I can do some biographical stuff, maybe work out some backstory, this kind of thing, and you can be a little more luxurious in developing a character, perhaps.
Yeah, go with the process of the who, what, where, when, and why.
Yeah, but now in games, for the most part, you've been given a page, perhaps, of dialogue, and that's it. You're not seeing the whole script. And then you'll get the gig, but then you're getting the script on the day. So when you go in to record, here's your script, you're seeing it for the first time. There isn't any prep time.
So there's no table reads or anything
There's
like
no
that?
table, well, not in my experience, in 100-something games. So, which is not a slight against it, it's just it's a different thing. But the flip side is that game developers and the writers are big on backstory, and they're big on biographies. So they can be oftentimes, 2-3 pages talking about the character, where they came from, who they are, the world they inhabit, for perhaps 6 lines of audition material. So you can, oftentimes I'll read stuff that I auditioned for, and I'm like, oh yeah, cool, and then but I've only got I've only got like a handful of lines, and it's like, well, I can't bring all of that to this, but it's wonderful there's all of that. I wish I had more to, but I love the care taken, because the writers know that world, and you really rely on them in the room, because I'll have lots of questions usually when I'm like, okay, where are we here? Because oftentimes it might just be my lines. I don't know what's come before or what's coming afterwards, because they're just doing me, we're not doing it in a group, so there isn't dialogue actually happening. It's sort of, bless you. it's oftentimes it's a sort of an interspersed monologue, with space in between. So that's where you need a writer and director in the booth with you
to kind of rein you in a little bit.
Yeah, just feed you that extra information. So like, oh, okay, he's that, and then they just done this and whatever. So you go, okay, great, because now I know.
And just last but not least, I've got a fan of yours, basically, who has his own YouTube channel. His name's Dave Wade. He has a catchphrase called Sexy Biscuits. Now, I'm wondering if you're okay to do it, of course. Can you look at the camera and say, Dave, Sexy Biscuits?
Dave, Sexy Biscuits.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right, cheers.
This is Michael Burhan, of course, for Gideon Emery, saying that we've got gameplay. Have you? Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Cool, yeah.
If you only knew the power of the dark side.
2, 1, 0.